Yeah, Trump already. He was arrested again. A former president, we need to really appreciate that, was arrested for the third time. Uno, dos, tres. The third time, trois, this man was. Once again arraigned, once again given conditions of bail, and once again, those conditions required that he not speak to witnesses and he not engage in further crimes and, do things like threaten the prosecutors. And once again, that's exactly what he did. But something's different this time. I was talking to you, I think, yesterday. I was talking to you about what we ought to do to encourage Jack Smith to actually act on this. And wouldn't you know it, apparently, Jack Smith's a big fan of the stream, and he didn't want that smoke from you guys. Because not only did Trump already violate the conditions of his bail, Jack Smith acted. Folks, this is literally all I was asking for. It's a hell of a thing to see. Let's check it out with Mr. Glenn Kirshner.
So friends, when Donald Trump was arraigned on his most recent criminal indictment, the magistrate judge instructed him that he is not to tamper with witnesses or otherwise obstruct justice. Well, 24 hours later, it looks like Donald Trump may have already violated the conditions of his pretrial release. So let's talk about the wonderful world of show cause orders. Because justice matters. Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, it sure didn't take long for Donald Trump to violate the conditions of his pretrial release, did it? You know, I was in court on Thursday, in federal court in Washington, D.C., right here in my backyard, and I saw the judge give Donald Trump the following warning.
God damn, I just got to say, when he puts on those glasses, I'm like, Mr. Kirshner. It's business time, and I love it.
Sir, I want to remind you that it's a crime to try to influence a juror, threaten a witness, retaliate against anyone, or obstruct the administration of justice. Do you understand these warnings?
I need, Niecy Nichols? Oh, I'm thinking Nichelle Nichols. Niecy something from Reno 911. I need the Beautiful. I love this court document.
Warnings and consequences, sir. And the defendant, Donald Trump, responded, yes. And then, not 24 hours later, Donald Trump posted the following: if you go after me, I'm coming after you. And special counsel Jack Smith had a little something to say about that. Here's the new reporting from NBC News. Headline: Special counsel cites threatening Trump post in request for protective order in election interference case. And that article begins, federal prosecutors on Friday asked the judge overseeing former President Donald Trump's election interference case to bar him from publicly disclosing some of the evidence gathered during their investigation. In a court filing, attorneys with the special counsel Jack Smith's office requested that U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan ensure that sensitive materials are used by Trump's defense team for only the trial, and that the former president view the materials in the presence of his lawyers. This from the prosecutors. Quote, all the proposed order seeks to prevent is the improper dissemination or use of discovery materials, including to the public, they wrote. Such a restriction is particularly important in this case because the defendant has previously issued public statements on social media regarding witnesses, judges, attorneys, and others.
Okay. It is worth noting he doesn't have he does have a conviction record if you're counting civil cases. But look, Donald Trump has not done prison time yet. But this man does have an arrest record. Let's be just crystal clear about that. He's got an arrest record. Imagine for a moment he was a black guy who put up drywall for a living. Now imagine how he'd be treated. Third item he is in federal court for. Federal court. How would he be treated? So this is, I mean, it's shocking to me. I'll forgive the fact that they didn't say, and we're gonna have you do a drug test as well. All right. David Feldman brought that up recently. All right, I'll give him a pass on that because of stuff like this. They're acknowledging that the defendant, Donald Trump, has previously issued public statements on social media regarding witnesses, judges, attorneys, and others. Now, it annoys me a little bit that they did not find a way to include we the people there. But okay, they got to keep it to the matter at hand. Fair enough. That's just the non-lawyer that I am, having the ignorance to think that the those in the legal profession are supposed to protect us and maybe even serve us. But regardless, the fact that they are willing to be frank about his history of doing this, to acknowledge his history of doing this and slap a warning on him is great. Now, you'll see what Trump said in a moment, and he gave himself wiggle room. But I note Trump felt the need to give himself wiggle room. The folks of this political mentality really require structure. They require cause and effect. They cannot be trusted to do anything on their word or because of morality or even more universal things like honor. Can't be trusted in that regard. They need the consequences laid out for them and followed through upon. Otherwise, if the consequences don't happen, in their minds, the rules aren't real. Let's let him keep going.
Associated with the legal matters pending against him. Prosecutors went on to say that Trump had written multiple posts that mentioned or implied the case, including one that appeared on...
I'm sorry, I just realized I misspoke. Jack Smith. I'm apologizing to Jack Smith yet again. He's acknowledging this. That said, in the court order, they also acknowledged that Trump has a history of doing this, although I have to give credit to whoever the hell the last judge was as well, because they also included that. And at this point, the fact that I can't tell you if it was the civil case with E. Jean Carroll or the other Jack Smith federal case regarding the documents, boy, tells you what kind of guy we're dealing with.
His Truth Social page Friday afternoon that read, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you."
And there it is.
Trump's use of details or grand jury transcripts obtained in discovery could have a harmful, chilling effect on witnesses or adversely affect the fair administration of justice in this case, the prosecutors wrote. And now, the presiding judge, Judge Tanya Chutkan, working on a Saturday, issued an order. It is hereby ordered that by 5 p.m. on August 7, 2023, defendant shall file a response to the government's motion for protective order, stating defendant's position on the motion. If defendant disagrees with any portion of the government's proposed protective order, his response shall include a revised version of that protective order with any modifications in red line, signed by Judge Tanya S. Chutkan on 8/5/2023.
I'm going to skip over a big chunk of this and sum it up as such with an attaboy to Jack Smith and Tanya Chutkan. The Honorable Tanya S. Chutkan. Jack Smith, way to stick to your word. Good man. Way to actually make some demands for this person following the rules like the rest of us. Good. Tanya S. Chutkan came in on a Saturday. For somebody at the top of their profession, boy, that's rare. Good. These are people that are taking this seriously. Now, did she say, that's it, we're throwing Trump straight in jail? No. What are the things she can do? Well, she has that option. She has the option to throw Trump in jail. She has the option to give him a stern talking to, which Trump has received previously from a judge, and which, based on my pessimism about the justice system in the United States, is probably what will happen here. Also, if I'm honest, the strength of the evidence. He can theoretically say, I was talking about the Republican debates. The other thing she can do, a fine, an irrelevant amount of money, because in our system of justice, we have allowed a get out of jail free card. Except it's not free. It's like a couple $100 to a couple $1,000, and to somebody who fleeces their followers for millions, that's nothing. So, what will happen? We don't know, because first he has an opportunity to come in and explain himself. It's that simple. And he will come in and he will lie, and he will say, I was talking about, who is it I'm not supposed to have talked about? Okay, yeah, not them. Not them. He'll say that. It's equivalent. And as a result of the fact that the quote in question, if he doesn't give them more ammunition by the 7th, because of the fact that the quote in question was vague, he will probably get a stern talking to, and that'll be the end of it. But this gives me hope, and I'm going to tell you why on the other side. This gives me hope because they're taking him seriously. He stepped out of line, and they jumped right on it. It has annoyed me quite a bit, and for some time, that in the United States, we, you and me, we're supposed to be the first in line for danger when it comes to these people. You got a psychopath with an M16 firing it into the air, training with their buddies because you're watching it every weekend because your property is next to theirs. Nothing happens to them until a bullet goes through your window and wings your spouse. These people in the Department of Justice, they're surrounded by people who are professionally armed, as in they are legally allowed to carry guns, they are supplied with those guns, they have the authority, crucially, to use them as they see fit. They're surrounded by people like that. But they get they get the stink eye put on them, and suddenly there's consequences. Look, in this case, it's great, because it used to be, if the person was powerful enough, there was no consequences at all. I'm just saying we largely see how it works now. And I think that the Department of Justice understands what is happening with the American people. We are finally looking at them and asking some fundamental questions about how they work. What is it this particular section of our government is supposed to do, and are they doing it? We have work to do when it comes down to defining what they're supposed to do. Because I think we, and now I mean all of America, the rich and the human beings, we have different ideas about that. However, at least, they understand now that they're being looked at, and they are going to do the things that they are supposed to do according to the letter of the law. That includes holding Donald Trump responsible when he steps out of line like this. He was not supposed to threaten any of them. That's exactly what he did. If he were not rich, if he were not Republican, if he were not white, if he were not famous, that he would have been dealt with by the local cops. He still would have had to come in on Monday, but he'd be waiting in jail until the judge had an opportunity to see him. Or hell, he wouldn't have been let go in the first place. But this is progress. This is good. I'm salty. I'm allowing myself to be, I'm going to use a scientific term here, a negative Nancy. But this is good. And there is nothing that Donald Trump hates more than being treated, the absolute indignity of being treated like you and me.